Hello everybody, welcome back to another reading. Today we're taking a look at the case of Irene Gawka, who is a 32-year-old Kenyan immigrant who had moved to the US in 2019 to go to nursing school and who disappeared in February 2022 shortly after a video call with her family. Now, after that last video call, her family tried connecting with her and all they really got were some what they described as lame excuses why she couldn't make it to the call. At which point her family decided to report her as missing. Now, a few things stood out to them as strange. It says here, along with the unprecedented lack of contact with her parents, strange text messages to her family from Irene's phone on March the 3rd also set off alarm bells. The texts announced plans of moving to Texas due to the fact that she was unhappy with her life in Gillette. Her WhatsApp account was also deleted on March 8th, ending a group conversation with her family, and the last activity on her phone was on March 4th, according to the timeline provided by her family. She was living with her boyfriend Nathan Heitman at the time, and they told police that Irene had come home one night late February, packed her clothes in 2 plastic bags, and then left in a dark-colored SUV, and he hadn't seen or heard from her since. Interestingly, though enough, after she disappeared, Nathan took it upon himself to try and trick her into contacting him by withdrawing $3,700 from her bank account, spending $3,230 on her credit card, and closing her email account, and later also deleting her phone number, which surprisingly did not help bring her back into contact. Now, Nathan has been sentenced for basically using her money without her consent and using her credit card without her consent and all of that. He has not been charged with her disappearance. He is one of the main suspects, though. As far as I can tell, she has not been found in any way, shape, or form, but there is a drum which is noted as an item of interest according to police. Reading from an article from this year, 2023, in a May statement, Gillette police said that they are requesting information regarding the possibility of a 55-gallon metal drum which may have been burned and or abandoned within the county. Gawka's oldest brother, Kennedy Wainaina, said Gillette police told the family that a neighbor reported seeing what appeared to be a fire burning in a drum in Heitman's backyard between late February and March. So that is very suspicious. And while this neighbor may have reported this, the police has also told the eldest brother that they haven't actually found the drum and they did search his property. It says here, Custer, which is one of the investigators I suppose, and others are now combing the area for the drum, although their research is complicated by the fact that northeastern Wyoming is full of oil and natural gas fields and by default oil drums. Many of them are on private property that can't be accessed without the owner's permission. So maybe the drum in question is hiding among a bunch of other very similar drums and maybe on the property of a neighbor or something where they can't just get to it. So this is also a fairly difficult thing to research. In any case, we haven't seen anything yet of Irene. No remains, no sightings as far as I'm aware. At least I didn't see anything about sightings. And the only person who has been convicted is Nathan, but only for the financial crimes he committed shortly after her disappearance. In any case, the end to this case is not yet in sight. We are going to take a look at this case today using the tarot. We're going to start off with the Crow Tarot deck, which is currently on the table. And for any further questions, moving on to the Urban Tarot, which is this one. Now, as usual, I'm just going to start shuffling the deck. As soon as I have about a table full of cards, we're going to stop and take a look. So without much further ado, let's get started. Okay, well, this is probably the first time that I've gotten all the cards in one go because it just flipped and everything fell, and since it was face up, I take that as a sign that those cards need to be in the reading, and all of this, including the two on end, were there in one go. So let's take a look what we've got here. We've got Justice in reverse, the Hermit, and the Tower, followed by the King of Pentacles. Now, when all the cards fell, I got the impression that there's a lot of energy here for this reading, and I feel like this is perhaps a lot of anger, a lot of frustration, I'm guessing on Irene's part. So the justice being in reverse makes a lot of sense in that sense. If somebody's really angry and wants to get the story out, then that can happen. So we have justice being in reverse, and then the hermit over here. It's usually like a quiet contemplation thing. Let's take a look at how that connects with the rest over here. We have the tower in reverse, so there's definitely something happening that they are not letting go of. And then the King of Pentacles. I'll come to these two on the end later. So I feel like this is actually the events that made her disappear, followed by whatever the perpetrator or whoever orchestrated this disappearance went through, because this is the act itself, justice in reverse, like I said. And then we have withdrawing from society, possibly trying to find some type of meaning or some type of, I don't know, inspiration. The tower unable to let something go, and possibly also playing it over and over again in their mind. And the King of Pentacles being very practically minded, very resource minded. And of course we don't want to make any accusations, but this kind of, I mean, the resource-mindedness of the King of Pentacles wouldn't be strange to see in a relationship with money being taken from her account and her credit card being run up by a certain individual after they're trying to lay low, I guess. Maybe the hermit is also pointing towards, how do I tell the story so that I can actually get away from this? I think this is something that happened that was very sudden. I don't know if it was planned. I think it's more of a spur of the moment thing. Something happened, she disappears, and he's like, wait a second, maybe I can get something out of this, because King of Pentacles really likes their finances, their resources. So perhaps they're trying to figure out how to best handle the situation, also with the Hermit card. And the Hermit in this card also has a star right there. It looks like a bauble, like a Christmas decoration thing. And kind of like staring at this shiny thing with the light as well, trying to find their way towards that. That might be their ultimate goal. I'm going to continue right here, and then we'll get to those in the end. Like I said, we have a Three of Swords here. We have the Eight of Wands in reverse. And a King of Swords. Alright, we'll grab those three on the end together then. Three of Swords over here. Maybe there was somebody else involved in the background. And I don't mean that this person was involved in Irene's disappearance. More like perhaps there was somebody waiting in the wings. Somebody whom they may have already made a connection with, and there is now a lack of communication, possibly miscommunication, because of this Eight of Wands being in reverse. Eight of Wands also has a lot of action in it. Could be this is a bit of a confusing time, perhaps from the perspective of this other person, this third sword, having no connection with him and trying to figure out what's going on. But also the no connection thing, the no communication thing, is also coming from the side, of course, of her family, who was trying to connect with her via video calls and getting all sorts of excuses back that didn't make any sense, and also not in her language apparently, and not in her tone. So they were very confused about that. And then we see here this King of Swords. And I feel like this is somebody on her family side who starts to put things together, starts piecing things together. This is probably also the part where they start to connect to police to try and get a missing persons report filed. And just trying to get all the puzzle pieces in one row to figure out exactly what's happening, because of course they weren't even in the same state. I believe her brothers were in Idaho, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere else in the US in any case, and she had moved to Wyoming, and so there wasn't a chance for them to just drive down and see them and see what's going on. So there's already that distance, so they had to be very careful. And I believe her parents were still in Kenya. I think they're still there at the moment as well. So there's a lot of distance there, and a lot of trying to figure things out from a distance, and a lot of lack of communication here with this Eight of Wands. Then we have the Five of Swords in reverse, so we're arguing, perhaps internally arguing. We have the Queen of Wands and we have the Five of Cups. Alright, so we have a bit of a loss going on here. We have some struggle, some strife internally, possibly arguing between each other. This may be them arguing with Nathan, trying to get people interested in the case, and maybe not getting too much cooperation on that end either. Maybe they're just kind of impatient that there's just not a lot of going on. There's not enough movement, I guess, in the case, perhaps. Maybe there's some feelings of that in any case. We have a Queen of Wands here as well, who is very actionable. So somebody is really trying to push things and seeing that not much is happening, or at least they're very frustrated about that, because we also have the Five of Cups also in reverse. So they're not able to look at what they do have. They're very much frustrated with what they've lost and the lack of communication, or perhaps the crossing of communications and making things very confusing and delaying things. Which, like I said, if you're far away from a person that you're trying to connect to and you're even in another country, very easy to understand how that would be very frustrating, how things would appear to be very slow, and you wouldn't see much progress in general. So this is where she gets missing, and we see the family trying to reach out to her, trying to figure out what's going on. I do feel like this is a very strong Queen of Wands though, so somebody who is likely to get to the bottom if she can. She's going to do everything that she can. Obviously it can also be a male. Like I say, Queen of Wands doesn't have to be a female, just somebody who has that energy. So there's a lot going on here. Now, in the meanwhile, let's see. She is missing at this point. The family's trying to connect with her. What happens next? Because we've already seen that Nathan has been convicted of stealing money and running up her credit card without her permission, obviously. But what else can we expect from this case? Justice upright. Okay, because I do believe we're not done yet. So this might be pointing towards perhaps there being some type of positive outcome at the end, as in there may be a case solved eventually on this folder. But we also see the Ten of Wands in reverse, which is called oppression. I think that this might mean that we're not going to see too much extra jail time for whomever this may be that has done the deed, so to speak. Alternatively, they could come down on this person very much so. So it could be that they're very much depressed in that sense. So maybe this is saying like ultimately they'll get the person who did it and they're not going to get away with it. But how are we going to get there? Because this is of course the ending of that. What's going to happen in between time? Are we going to find anything of Irene? Are we going to find her anywhere? The Ten of Cups in reverse, called Satiety. So I think in regards to finding anything of her, we're going to possibly come to the conclusion that she is no longer with us. I see this Ten of Cups quite often in this type of question, like if the person is still there, we often get a Ten of Cups, sometimes to suggest that the person has gone up to a better realm. And in this case possibly also connect to going to a better realm, but in a sense of we're going to miss them. So I think in this case that is what is being said. Also looking at the little boy again in the background with the blonde hair, this is the sun boy, so the boy that's on the card with the sun, and I think that also means sun is leaving. So I think that is pointing towards us not finding her alive. At least that's what this kind of looks like. Queen of Cups in reverse. Alright, so somebody who is fairly emotionally manipulative. I'm also looking at the fish. There appears to be... They're sitting in a room. You'd think that this would be a normal room, but if you look closely, the entire floor is water. And there's a whole bunch of fish in there, and it kind of just looks like they are trying to maintain some type of normalcy, but there's a lot of emotions going on, and I'm not sure entirely who this is. I think this may be the perpetrator, having quite a lot of struggles to keep things afloat, possibly keep their story afloat, maybe keep themselves from being caught out. And then we see the tower here, which is also very much a water card. If you look at this illustration here, the tower is actually being drowned instead of it just falling down. It is also falling down, but it's also just in a huge ocean. It kind of reminds me of the movie AI, where they go to, I guess, the head office of whatever organization was making those robots, and it was also pretty much underwater. It kind of looks like that desolate type of tower in the middle of an ocean of what used to be a metropolitan area, and that type of desolation and anxiety, I think, is also what this card is trying to communicate about the person whom is experiencing this, which I think is the perpetrator. So we're going to put that right there. So I think they're going to experience a tower moment. They may try to hide things, or they may feel like they have to hide themselves, because the next card that we have here is the moon, and this is a person that appears to be in a sewer. You can see the stereotypical crocodile on the right there, or alligator. I think that was one of the rumors, that there were alligators in a sewer system. All over the world, I think we've had rumors of alligators in sewer systems. I'm pretty sure somewhere there has been one. But this is kind of like representing the underbelly of the town, or the underbelly of the subconscious, and this person's subconscious as well, trying to hide things. They're not looking too good down there either. Kind of like they're part of the sewer, and they are the type of person or emotions that you do not want revealed in connection to yourself. So I think they're having a tough time keeping that underbelly from showing, which I think may be also the reason why they have the tower moment, because they can't keep it under wraps. Like the Queen of Cups over there, even though she's very good at manipulating, she can't keep it hidden forever, and that is because there's just so much going on there in that underbelly of this person that they can't keep it hidden for long, at least not indefinitely. So something may come to the surface, basically, that's going to end up causing this tower moment. And then we have here the lovers in reverse. Okay, so we might actually get to know exactly what was going on between the two there living in Gillette. That kind of does point towards Nathan, this set of cards that we've had so far. That is somebody who is close, because we have the lovers here, which is usually somebody who is very close to the person involved, and it can also just mean that they were on the same page at least at some point, but that turned around, and that intertwined candle over there is no more. So I think that there was definitely some type of falling out that may have caused all this, or maybe she had a glimpse of this moon card here, like part of his personality, and she didn't like what she was seeing and possibly threatened to walk out, and that may have caused all this to happen. Then the Page of Swords, alright, so they may be speaking before their turn. This is a Page of Swords. It says here Princess, but that's because the princesses in this deck are the pages. So the Page of Swords is normally very quick to speak and does not normally think about what it is that they want to say. And in this case, it's in reverse, so they're probably also just very quickly saying the wrong things, off the cuff, talking up a storm and not thinking too much, worrying too much about how it comes across. So I think we're looking at the method through which they're going to get caught. And then we have the Eight of Swords, which is in reverse. Eight of Swords is an entrapment of the mind, and usually it's willful. I think in this case, though, it's something that has been going on in their mind for so long that they can't really walk away from it. Like this is some type of mental illness, some type of mental construct that they've had for a very long time, and they're very comfortable within it, and they don't really want to let it go. That's kind of what this seems to be pointing towards. So I think that this is something that they were unwilling to relieve themselves of these thoughts and feelings. Maybe they're kind of obsessed with something in a way. Let's see if we can get anything about that. Okay, we have the 8 of Wands again. This one's on its side though, so it's kind of like we have a bit of a communication going on, maybe related as well to this 8 of Swords. Like they may have been trying to talk her into thinking the same thing, which is maybe why we had the Lovers over there in reverse, which is also about signing up to a certain mindset, becoming part of a group and that things a certain way. And I think that was perhaps an attempt that they made to try and convince Irene of whatever it is that's going on in their mind, but she decided not to engage with that, or perhaps just keep it at bay, because of course this is a delivery person. Maybe they decided not to accept this delivery of this thought or collection of thoughts that may be very worrisome. So far we have what happened, and we have possibly what's going to happen to the perpetrator, if we have anything to look forward to, if you could call it looking forward to, in regards to finding anything of Irene. We have what led up to it and the perpetrator's mind. We have a lot already. Like I said, there's a lot of energy in the cards today for this reading, so I feel like we've actually burned through whatever it is that we needed to know already. But let's ask if we can get any more cards for like any extra info, and then I guess we'll call it for now. Let's see what else we can learn. Okay, we have a 2 of Swords over there in reverse, so single-mindedness, and we have the Hangman also unable to look at another perspective. So whatever it is that's going on with this perpetrator, they're unwilling to budge. They really are stuck. This is a further confirmation of the 8 of Swords, so this may also be pointing towards how this would have been inevitable, and maybe also something that has been in the back of their mind for some time. Like at the start we had this situation where we're like, oh, this is possibly something that happened very quickly, maybe they didn't plan it. But with these cards that we've been getting for the past few rows, it may be that even though that one event may not have been planned, it may be something that was bound to happen regardless. Like I was watching a video yesterday of this woman who ended up stabbing her boyfriend to death during an argument, and even though she may not have planned it on that day, there was a lot of evidence how she had been violent with him in the past and been very unreasonable and drawn a lot of attention, also had been in contact with the police for similar things. So there was always something kind of boiling just beneath the surface, and it was bound to go wrong at some point. I feel like this is also what's happening here with this perpetrator. Like there was just something inside of them that was bound to boil over at some point. It was only a matter of time, and hopefully also them being arrested and sent away for a long time with that 10 of Wands is also just a matter of time. So that's, as quickly as that went, I feel is what we're going to get for today for Irene Gawka. I hope you found that interesting. Make sure to leave a like and a comment. That really helps the channel along. If you have a case you'd like me to take a look at, make sure to leave that in the anonymous Google form, which you can find a link to in the description below the video. In any case, thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time, and bye-bye for now.